Yes. Lighting is less actually. The lighting should be more. Door you close, you have to move the camera again.
This is fine.
You can see the both cameras sometimes.
Lighting is not sufficient, sir.
Hmm?
Lighting.
Lighting, that's the reason that will be dull, but yeah, you have to use that. Drop this. This lighting is heavy is there. This side lighting. And you have to cover like this. You might close it. This you prefer to put this laptop close there. Then it will, yeah. Because other it will cover too much. No, no, no. Set it properly.
This is proper, no, sir.
Huh? The blanks are there more, no? You can shift that laptop near here in the ground and make it closer. Shift the laptop. Shift this, I'll tell you. Because we need for recording. Yes, yes, yes. Now you make it close, yes. Okay. Is okay now? Check it. Close so that it very close because audience should be a bit, yeah. Yes.
Perfect.
Perfect. What?
Let's invite Dr. G. Kadpagavalli to start the session. Respected Director, sir, and dear faculty members and other participants of this Firebird Institute, very warm welcome for this session 1 of this research methodology, a beginner's approach, right? We need to first understand the title of this FDP, what we have given. It is research methodology, a beginner's approach. So the presentation, what I have made is in the angle of whoever is wishing to start their PhD or whoever is pursuing and gets stuck at certain places, not sure about how to proceed their PhD work, right? So the basics of research methodology, right from how do you make your mindset in a very clear manner in order to pursue your research, that part I have covered here, right? Because data collection, applying statistical tools, analysis are the secondary. Initially, being a researcher, you have to be clear in what you are doing. So this session, I'm going to cover about the complete basics of research methodology. Okay. The content what I'm going to cover for today's session is research and overview, understanding the types of research, where I'll be covering about research design, the different methods of research design, and more about literature review, right? Literature review is very, very important, but we don't consider that. We are very much negligent towards literature review. We assume that literature review is just collecting huge set of related papers or documents which are relevant to our research and just producing it. The reason that why I have given this more about literature review is, in my experience, when I was doing the PhD, when I had gone for my first doctoral committee meeting, my assignment was to do the literature review. Initially, my title was decided, and then during the first meeting, they said you prepare the review of literature and come for the second meeting. So while I was going for the second meeting, I was not sure about how to do this literature review actually. I have just collected nearly 180 articles which are related to my research topic, irrespective of what exactly it is there. I have just searched for, I have done my research under green marketing. So just giving search about green marketing and collected different sources. It is about nearly 180 articles which I have collected. Just taken a printout, made a spiral binding. I went to my second doctoral committee meeting. So my committee people, panel examiners were there and they were asking about what did you do for research. I have collected 180 research papers. What is there in that? No, it was all related to my research only. But summarize and tell. What are the different objectives that they have set in their research work? What are their major findings? What analysis tools they have used? Those authors of whose research papers I have referred, right? How did they apply this tool? Why they have taken this tool? Why not regression? Why not correlation? So they started asking 100 questions related to those literature review, where in my aspect, I thought literature review is just collecting, gathering. I have not been informed, though I have attended several research methodology FDPs. Still, I can say I'm still learning. We cannot say, because every time when you attend different research methodology FDP, every time you will learn new things. Every time. I'm very sure different resource persons covering different areas, talking in depth about research design, talking about how do you differentiate the variables, how do you choose dependent variable, independent variable, how do you control it. But without knowing those basics of research, those nitty-gritty of research, when you proceed, we will be clueless actually, right? So that is the reason that I have covered these three. It may look very simple topics, but I am very sure my audience here will definitely gain some knowledge about these three, which are very, very important before you proceed your research work. So if you have your mobile, you can just log into menti.com and use this code. I hope it works. Let us see. Just log into www.menti.com and it may ask a passcode, and the passcode is here 79779467. Are you able to access? When you give it is asking a passcode.
Yes.
It takes to your page where.
No, not possible. Not my research exposure.
I will
Just
wait for you. Okay. Let me try.
No, it went inside. I went inside.
Okay, there is a question.
There is
My
a-
research exposure.
Yes.
There are 3 questions. You can give your answer. And the webpage. My research exposure, it is asking, there are 3 options there. According to your experience, exposure, you can just give. It is not working? You can copy that URL and...
Only one question, huh?
There is another question. Is it working? No, not that. Just open a separate group page and copy this link.
Open a word doc.
No. Google. Can I come? No. Okay, what are 3 options that I have asked there? Your research exposure, 3 options, less than a year, 2 to 5 years, above 5 years. So can I know your experience about pursuing research? Less than 1 year, you can just raise your hands. So we have, okay, less than 1 year. 2 to 5 years, we have 4. And above 5 years, okay, thank you for your answer. So there is another question you could able to see.
It's just still showing the.
That is actually the answer. It shows it is connecting audience live actually. When you give the passcode and do it, no, I will be able to display it, the results, but it is not working, no problem. Do you have another question here? No? Okay. Anyway, we will proceed. So that is just to know about the research exposure that the audience have got in order to continue my, FDP. Facts about PhD. The All India Survey of Higher Education, that is AISH report 2019, today revealed that the number of PhDs has increased by 60% in last 5 years. So people are showing a lot of interest in doing the doctorate degree. But for what purpose? That's very important. That is very important, right? We are all forced to do PhD since we have chosen our career as an academician. To survive in this field, it is very important and mandatory that you have to complete your PhD due to the urge you are doing or on your own interest to explore some new things to gain deeper knowledge in the area of interest, right? So this is just a report, statistical report says the number of PhDs has increased by 60% in last 5 years. The total PhD admissions increased manifolds in the last few years from 1,26,000 in 2015-16 to 2,550 in 2019. This numbers I have brought in here just to know about people's interest towards registering for PhD. You're all aware, we all know that, but still this is our FDP, which focuses on a beginner's approach right from the grassroots level. Let us learn. So when you talk about the term PhD, Doctor of Philosophy, it comes from the Latin word to teach, and in Greek it is love of wisdom. It is a process where you meant to master yourself completely A to Z of a topic that is really your interest area, right? It is a process where you can learn and expand your knowledge and really get to know what something is about. How a PhD actually goes ahead, right? A PhD really starts with some proposal that contains research questions, some methodology, some justification that why it is important to study that area. And what are we supposed to do while doing a PhD? We are supposed to write a thesis, which is about 100,000 words, which is a lengthy work. You are very tiresome work, right? Mentally, you will be getting lost somewhere while pursuing the PhD. Sometimes we feel that let us drop, let us not continue. Why do we take this pain, right? And truly speaking, in front of director sir, I'm not supposed to say this. We as an academician, right? We take PhD work and we never get time to do research work in our workplace. I'm sorry, sir. Right? It is true because management expectation would be something different. They also expect us to complete PhD and then showcase ourselves as doctorate. We have faculties, different doctorate degrees and all. But really looking into the scenario, we really don't get time to think about doing our research work. Such a hectic back-to-back classes and different academic and administration requirements, we are unable to match with the expectation, right? Then where is the time to focus on PhD? PhD, you need a dedicated time to pursue, which we are not getting. And going back home, we have other tasks, balancing the family. So it's really challenging. So that is where most of the candidates do dropouts. It is not only in India, across globe, the dropping rate of this doctorate degree is very high because of varied reasons, right? So we are supposed to write a thesis about 100,000 words, which is very lengthy. You work under a guidance of a supervisor, then you defend your work in front of an examiner. This is a procedure. We are encouraged to publish in an academic journal as well. Of course, you are supposed to publish in good, and that too, the minimal expectation that is expected by the management is Scopus indexed, as if they say very easily. And if we have to take their advice how to write a paper to publish in Scopus actually, when they say we are supposed to do. So this is how the research process look like, and this is formal standard definition of what happens in a PhD. Apart from this, there are many things on how to do PhD as well. Why I have told those facts and then tried explaining about what is the management expectation, what we are supposed to do and all. Sometimes we are very, very clueless. See, when we join a certain institution, when we start our career as an academician, we will have in our mind that, okay, to be an academician, to survive in this field, doctorate degree is the highest expectation. That has become a minimal expectation now. So now, to do that, I'm enrolling for PhD. We are very clueless. I'm enrolling for PhD. That is the first objective of all of us. Number two, I find some university, right? Whichever universities are little lenient in doing our PhD, we'll try to choose that. Am I correct? Will you agree with me? Yes, of course. Right? So, which universities are little lenient? Because we are working as well. Mostly we prefer to do part-time PhD, right? We need earnings as well. So, we try to choose universities which are little lenient. And third thing, I find some research supervisor who can guide them. Fine. I enroll myself to PhD. These are the process which we do. And the moment you register to some university, we feel like we have achieved PhD. The moment you register yourself, you enroll yourself to certain universities for the PhD course, we feel very happy. I'm a research scholar. And wherever you go, you have a lot of facilities being a research scholar, right from very less registration amount in FDPs, conferences. They are all encouraging you to gain knowledge, but actually we don't use that. Is it not? Yeah, actually, we don't use that. We take it very leniently. Whenever any conferences happens, you have to take it that it is a place where you can get a lot of networks, where you can get a lot of help in pursuing your PhD. But we never thought or take that in that attitude, right? We can easily get an OD from our institution. We can take our own time to reach the campus to attend. Half of the day we'll attend the session. We'll have our food. Openly I'm telling because I also have experience of it. But why I am bringing these things here is people who really wanted to pursue and gain the degree should not suffer. They need a proper pathway to achieve that. That is where whatever I have experienced, I wanted to share with this small crowd even. You will definitely take it up and that is going to help you really, right? So a simple Google search of a phrase, how to do or write a PhD, when you just search this in Google, it throws about 42 crores, 30 lakhs results, how to do PhD. As Sir has mentioned in his initial presidential address, we are living in this information age. We have not even crossed this knowledge and the wisdom digital era. We are living in this digital era. Whatever comes to our mind, we immediately check Google, right? The concept of searching the things and getting some idea has become like earlier days we used to say Mata, Pita, Guru, Devam. Now it is Mata, Pita, Google and Devam, right? That is how our dependency on Google is very, very high. So when you say how to proceed or how to do PhD, you'll get 42 crores of results. How do you confine about your topic? How do you confine about your search? Young number of information is thrown in front of you. How are you going to extract the things which are needed to you? Right? Accessing internet sources, I'm not telling no, but you should really know where to access, what to access, how to access. Right? There are very positive content aspect as well. There are so many things which are irrelevant. So you should know how to filter it and take exactly what you require. Right? There are a lot of information on how to do well in a PhD. When you talk to universities or to the universities where you have enrolled, universities will have set of guidelines and procedures. How do you pursue, right? And you go accordingly. The moment you enroll, you have to appear for the, before you enroll, you appear for the entrance test. Upon clearing the entrance test, you would be getting registered as a research scholar, right? And then followed with, you may have a discussion with a panel of members after deciding your research supervisor. And then you may follow with, every 6 months once you are supposed to do the doctoral committee meeting, appear in front of a panel, discuss about what work you have done. And truly speaking, those are pursuing between 2 to 5 years sitting here. Doctoral committee meetings, whatever you have attended so far, you might have prepared for that DC meeting the previous day of the meeting. Is it not? Will you agree with me? Doctoral committee meeting is actually expecting your 6 months progress in research. But we are so talented that the 6 months progress we will be able to do the previous day, single night. And we appear for the DC meeting and we get different opinions from different panel. We'll be confused, we go back and we throw the papers. Am I right? Thank you. We go back and we throw the papers. Again, we will not consider then what has been told, where I have to correct it, how do I improvise my research work. Should I change my title? Is my title feasible? Is my objectives are proper? Will I be able to get data for this set of objectives? Have I started focusing on preparing my questionnaire? Nothing. The moment your DC meeting is, I am a research scholar. First of all, we get that pride. I have registered with the university. In another 4 years, I am going to get the degree. Right? I have completed my first DC meeting. Even in your appraisal, with your management. When you say what is your progress, completed first doctoral committee meeting. But what is the result of it? Management will look into that one single statement and they say, oh, I have a research scholar here. He has completed proudly. They think very proudly. He will complete in another 4 years, 3 years. He has completed his first doctoral committee meeting. So let me consider for appraisal. But actually, they personally call you and ask, what you have done in your first DC meeting? That's 0. I'm not sure. I'm not criticizing here. The same experience I have crossed. So that is why I brought in those things that further people who are doing research should not get that struggle. When you are very clear in doing your research work, it helps you to complete in a proper way. So universities will tell us about the regulations and academic formalities to fulfill, to finish your doctorate degree. Nevertheless, nobody talks about there are few things that you should be aware and realize while you pursue your research journey. And that is what I'm going to talk today. Right? I'm not going to deep dive into research methodology, Kothari's book, Ranjit Kumar book, and then there are several international authors, Lewis, John Caswell, not at all. When you listen to this session, you will have a clear mind of how I am going to pursue my PhD. If that is clear, that one single point is enough for me for my success of this session. That will take you to move to the next level. I'm not going to deep dive into creating the variables, how do you analyze, how do you set hypothesis, not at all. That we can do it actually in the series 2 if you require. How to set an objectives, how to set the hypothesis, which analytical tool needs to be used to test this hypothesis. These things we can talk later. But before that, we have to be very clear in mind that why are we doing PhD and how do we do it? As I told, we have so many sources, not only here, I have confined only to three books with regard to Indian authors and international authors. Kothari, Ranjit Kumar, Pani Silva, international authors John Crystal, Oflick, Louis Cohen and Sinha. But if you take either of the Indian authors or international authors and start reading, I'm going to do my research, I'll buy this book. From day one, I start reading about research. Even if you finish all 1,000 pages of this book, you will not know how to do research. Sorry. So what is research? Research is a careful and detailed study into a specific problem, concern or issue using scientific method. Research is creating new knowledge, said by Neil Armstrong. Research is, of course, it's all about curiosity to learn something. What is there in that? Why it is like that? Why it can't be like this? Right? Several questions which arises in our mind out of curiosity is nothing but research. The main purpose of research is to prove a theory. Number 2, to make contribution to the developing knowledge in a particular field or study. Number 3 is to facilitate learning. Number 4, to understand various issues and increase public awareness. So being academician, we may fit ourselves into objective 3 and probably 2 and 3. To prove a theory, we don't require. We have completed undergraduation, post-graduation, and then we are pursuing PhD just to survive in this career, right? Why do we are not scientists? Unless it's extraordinary that we have a well and wish to develop a new theories, we may fit ourselves in objective 1, purpose 1. Otherwise, we can easily fit ourselves in 2 and 3. To make contribution to the developing knowledge in a particular field or study. Objective 2 helps you to enhance your knowledge towards writing books. Of course, we have seen Dr. Suman Datta writing book related to research and publications in research and publication ethics, right? So you are enhancing your knowledge and then that you are specifically producing in a particular area. Third thing is to facilitate learning. So of course, we are trying to help our students with our gained knowledge. We are sharing our knowledge to enhance students' knowledge as well. To understand various issues and increase public awareness. So this, of course, when we are affiliated ourselves with certain companies and industries, probably it will be helpful. Academic research, when you talk about academic research, the purpose of academic research is to seek the truth and new knowledge which enhances social development. Such research is one of the integral responsibilities of a faculty member working in an academic institution. Just now we have spoken about that. The expectations of the management and the pressure, or whether likingly or dislike, we have to opt for this research work. It is a mandatory requirement across institutions. It is one of the key aspects of their job performance. You need appraisal, right? Monetary benefits are the important, best motivation for the people to work. And to gain monetary benefits or increment, you need to increase your knowledge in terms of pursuing PhD, additional certifications. You have to add value. Actually, management expect that when you are working with when you are working with some institutions, you must try to create some value for the institution. That is what they expect. How do you create value? Either through your knowledge, either through your consultancy or training services, either through helping students in placements, etc. So that's a minimal expectation by the management which we have to bear. Benefits of conducting research, as I discussed, number one, building the knowledge base. Number two, increasing professional opportunities. Identifying the cause of a complex problem and trying to provide a solution. And Philip Zimbardo has quoted that academic success depends on research and publications. So here, out of the 2 points, building the knowledge, increasing professional opportunities, I have underlined that line because we fit ourselves best in that second one. The main purpose of choosing a research work is to increase our professional opportunities. Since that is a mandatory and a basic requirement, we focus on doing that just because, of course, knowledge base is there, building the knowledge base is there, but main focus is of increasing the professional opportunities. Can we play the YouTube video? Is that possible? Sorry? Okay. Sorry, last one. We'll do it. We'll just look into that. That's a good video, small 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes, 1 minute video about 5 things to think about before starting a PhD.
What happened, Satish? Why can't you play?
Reading view.
You are a copy will be good.
You are
Open another window.
Go to the live, either YouTube,
Open another.
YouTube, go to the YouTube.
Copy and create another window and open another URL.
It has come now.
Open down.
Hi, it is coming, sir.
Coming.
You have just closed it now. You can maximize the screen and audio can be,
Messages all day, every day.
skip the eye.
Really has been a lifesaver.
Yeah, we will listen to.
Hello, my name is James Anatakis and I'm the Dean of the Graduate Research School here at Western Sydney University. And you're watching this video because you're probably thinking about doing a PhD. So, 5 things to think about before you start a PhD. The first is to think about a topic that you're really interested in, something you're passionate about. I've known people that have done a PhD on a topic they thought would be interesting or they thought would be a topic they should study rather than something that they were passionate about. And it starts off okay, but they get a little lost, a little bored, and they run out of steam. Now, I think that's a bad strategy. So like I said, the first thing you should definitely think about is identifying a topic that you're really interested in. Take a bit of time, research that topic, get excited about it. You're going to spend the next 3 years of your life reading about it. And the second thing to think about when you're thinking about doing a PhD is your supervisor and supervisory panel. Here at Western Sydney University, we have at least 2 supervisors, usually 3, for every student. And that's really important because what you want to do is you want to get people with a range of experience. The right supervisor is someone who's interested in your topic. They don't have to be 100% expert in your area, but they should be someone who knows that area, knows where to guide you. And your support supervisors, maybe they can be people who are more expert in the area that you want to research, or maybe they're experts in this period of time that you're looking at studying. So find the right panel. And that takes a little bit of time on your part to contact people, send them emails, see if they're interested in pursuing your topic. That's really important when we're thinking about pursuing a PhD. The third thing to think about if you're thinking about doing a PhD is to think about a long-term plan. Why is it exactly that you want to do a PhD? Only about 50% of PhD students actually go on and enter academia. Others enter private research, work as policy people, work for non-government organisations or international organisations like the United Nations. So having a bit of a long-term plan about where you think this is going to get you is really important before considering doing a PhD. The fourth thing about thinking of doing a PhD is to think about enjoying the journey, not just think of the end point. You shouldn't just do a PhD because you want to be a doctor or have the title doctor in front of your title. It doesn't really get you upgraded on planes, unfortunately. Trust me, I know. But you should think about all the things you can learn along the way. How to be a good researcher, how to become an expert in your field, how to have an impact, where to integrate into policy debates. These are things that are part of the journey. So doing a PhD isn't just about the end point of actually handing something in and getting that title in front of your name. It's about the journey that you take and all the things you learn along the way. Okay, and the fifth thing to think about is, are you prepared? Is this a really, really good time to take on the journey of a PhD? As I said before, a PhD takes about 3 years, sometimes up to 4 years. It's a long commitment. Are you prepared for really what should be a grueling battle? A lot of time spent researching, a lot of time spent at conferences, interacting with other PhD students, but also a lot of time on your own, being really disciplined and treating it like a job. You've got to think about, is this the right life stage for me to pursue a PhD? If it is, then you should do a PhD. Now, I would love you to come to my university, Western Sydney University. It's a great place. But this advice that you can take to go to any university, and it may make you change your mind about where you're originally.
So here also we have seen a video which talks about the importance of having a clarity in doing your PhD work, right? As I told, we all have a question about how do we pursue research in an efficient manner. So to explain this question, I cannot separate myself with my language, Tamil, so I have tried bringing in a Tirukural to which we can relate research here, right? This is Kalamaridal, Kural 483. அருவினை என்ப உளவோ கருவியான் காலம் அறிந்து செய்யும். So the meaning of this is there is nothing for you that you can't do it in your life. When you use the right tools, when you approach in a right manner, there is nothing in the life that you can't achieve. That's the meaning of this Tirukural, right? Whatever we do in our day-to-day life, whatever we come across in life, everything is explained in Tirukural. We have to be very proud of it. So that is where I was trying to bring in this Tirukural quote related to research. So here the question is, how do you do research in an efficient manner? You can probably relate this Kalamaridal Kural. So use the right tools with the right approach. Definitely you can succeed and complete your PhD work, right? At the right time, of course. Thank you. Okay, so basic research, we mainly categorize the research into two types, basic research and applied research, right? When you search in research methodology books, you have different types of research, applied research, basic research, experimental research, exploratory research, etc. And even if you check through under research design also, you have different exploratory design, explanatory design, experimental design. So we will be definitely little confused about what are we learning under different types of research and under research design, right? Let us try to learn. There are basically two types of research, which are applied and basic research. So when you talk about basic research, the term basic research refers to study which is meant to increase our scientific knowledge. So what is basic research? You try to explore that and try to understand that concept. Okay, that is basic research. I have some examples as well. This type of research is often purely theoretical with the intent of increasing our understanding of certain phenomena or behavior, but without seeking to solve or treat these problems. The last line you have to remember. We are trying to explore, we are trying to gain knowledge, but we are not trying to find a solution. There is a problem existing. We are trying to just study about the problem. How do we face this pandemic? How coronavirus is getting spread, or how if you are just studying, it is coming under the category of basic research. When you try to find a solution to it, it becomes applied research. Right? We have to make clear that two types of research, basic and applied. Basic talks about you are intended purely theoretical with the intent of increasing our understanding of a certain phenomena. We are not trying to find solution for the problems. Examples of basic research, examples I have brought in the psychology. A study looking at how caffeine consumption impacts the brain. Right? How do we solve that? It is impacting the brain. How do we find solution to stop that? That we are not doing. We are just trying to understand how it is impacting. So this is falling under basic research. A study assessing whether men or women are more likely to be diagnosed with depression. How many women here? Of course, men also. Third example, a study looking at how attachment styles among children of diverse parents compared to those raised by married parents, people who are living together, right? So we are trying to assess something which is already existing, trying to improvise that, and we are developing our knowledge base, but we are not trying to focus on finding solution to that. That is why we categorize that under basic research. Few more examples. How do teaching methods affect students' concentration in class? So now we talk about blended learning, right? We use a lot of videos. If you have 1 hour session of a class, 1 hour if you just do your lecture, students will not listen to us, right? So you go for blended learning. You offer, because psychologically, human brain have the tendency to grasp something not more than 20 minutes. That is why when I proceed my session also, I have to keep myself alert that when I cross 15-20 minutes, I'll interact with my audience. So even if they are sleeping, they will little try to wake up and then listen. So that I can grab their attention again, we can continue further. The same happens with the students as well, right? When we are sitting here and when we listen to more than 1 hour, we are only getting tired, we are feeling sleepy. Imagine about students sitting for the whole day and listening to different lectures. So how do we grasp their attention? We try to use different learning methodologies. So how it can be done comes under basic research. Do stress levels make individuals more aggressive? An investigation into the symptoms of coronavirus, an investigation into the causative factors of malaria, investigation into the secondary symptoms of high BP. Just for an example, I wrote. So these things comes under basic research. So we are very clear, basic research, we tend to increase our knowledge base. We tend to understand what is happening. We are not trying to find a solution for it. Notice in all these examples, the goal of the research is merely to increase the amount of knowledge on the topic, not to come up with a practical solution. Right? Basic research is driven by curiosity and the need to explore new areas of knowledge in different fields. So why are we learning this basic and applied here? So if you are intended, if you wish to do your PhD, just blindly, I'm going to pursue PhD and getting yourself registered in universities, finding your research supervisor, and randomly, a research supervisor may say, when I have approached my guide, I had faced a lot of difficulties, sir. The moment I went and tried asking him that, sir, I want to work under you, please accept me as a scholar. The first time he said, I'll not take you. I'll not take you, madam. So please, sir, I would like to pursue my PhD. Please take. No, madam, I will not take lady candidates. They will come and say that they wanted to do PhD, they will register, and 2 years or 1.5 years, 2 years they pursue, and they say family as a reason, my husband is not permitting, my family is not supporting, I am unable to continue, and they withdraw. My seat will go vacant. I will not take you. Then I took my family, entire family. They are all here along with me. So they are all supporting me, they are all encouraging me, and I wish I wanted to do PhD, please take me as a scholar. And then he told, okay, I don't have much time now. You come with 5 proposals. 5 proposals. We'll discuss all the 5 proposals, and then whichever is best suitable, where we can collaborate and do, where I can help you to pursue a PhD, we will select that as a topic. So preparing those 5 research proposals took 3 months for me because I am working as well as a faculty assistant professor in a college where I have a lot of sessions to take and then administrative responsibilities as well. So day and night I was working, and within 3 months I prepared 5 proposals and I met him, and then he has finalized with one topic, right? So, and what here from this, what I'm trying to say is we have to be very clear enough in which area that we are going to do. And then you try to categorize yourself. Am I going to do the basic research or am I going to do the applied research? Right? Because we are, while starting, I'm 100% I'm telling you, while starting we would have not thought about all these things. Those who are pursuing PhD, I'm telling you. Those who are pursuing PhD, randomly we have, okay, which is the recent topic, which topic can be accepted for doing PhD? We will randomly choose some topic. We go approach the guide, slight modification, and then we frame objectives. We frame objectives by looking at different literature reviews, and then accordingly we do. Is it not? And that is how we pursue. But truly to do a research, if you proceed in this way, definitely it does not only give you good credit, but a great knowledge as well, right? So basic research is completely driven by curiosity and the need to explore new areas. Now coming back to applied research, the opposite of it, you try to increase your knowledge base as well, you try to find solutions for the existing problems, right? Applied research is designed to focus on providing practical solutions to a specified problem. It is a form of investigation that entails solution-oriented inquiries into a phenomenon. It's a field of study or research, subject generally employing empirical methodologies, and basically you try to find a solution to the problem. How do we relate basic and applied research? Researchers might conduct basic research on how stress level impacts students academically, emotionally, and socially. So the results of these theoretical explorations might lead to further studies designed to solve a specific problem. So when you understand, you are going to assess the stress level of a student. When you assess the stress level of a student, probably that is a basic research. When you assess and when you try to find a solution for it, how do we tackle it? How do we manage this? It comes under applied research, right? Researchers might initially observe that students with high stress levels are more prone to dropping out of college before graduating. Here is the examples. I'll just go to the example. So if you see here, basic research in psychology, how do panic attack happens? Nowadays it is becoming very common after this COVID era, pandemic. With whomever we are talking, with whomever we are hearing this term called he is being attacked, he is having panic attack, right? So how do panic attack happens? What are the symptoms of anxiety disorder? So when you try to just understand that, it comes under basic. What are the treatment options for anxiety disorders? When your study expands towards finding the treatment options, you have assessed the anxiety disorders of a particular group of people. Could be students, could be employees, could be employees of an industry, right? When you try to provide solutions for it, it becomes your applied research. What are the ways to improve employees' productivity in the workplace? So these comes under applied research. Now, we'll move to research design part, right? So please remember, when you talk about research, you have only two types of research: basic research and applied research. Basic research, we are just choosing a topic where you are going to study thoroughly about the topic and you are enhancing your knowledge. Whereas in applied research, you are going to also find solution to the existing problems. That's all, right? Now, one more example I can say. Suppose you have taken your research topic as CSR, corporate social responsibility, right? This is just an example, added example. So when you say corporate social responsibility, if you are doing a basic research, it is just study about corporate social responsibility in India, CSR in India and abroad with a selected other country, CSR contribution by different companies, that could be your topic. So here you are just gathering the data relevant to CSR and you are producing it as your research report, right? Now, when you select few companies, if you go to the government website related to CSR contribution by different companies, you can say sector-wise. How much pharmaceutical sector companies are contributing for corporate social responsibility? How much automobile industry is contributing for? Under automobile industry, how much each company is doing. Pharmaceutical, when you say how much Biocon is contributing for CSR, how much Strides Pharma is doing for CSR. So these details are available completely. So according to our study, if you are analyzing different companies are doing, and then when you produce it in a report, it becomes basic research. Now, when you do a comparative analysis, let us say Biocon company, their CSR contribution, you take it for past 5 years. What is the contribution in 2019? What is the contribution in 2020? What is the contribution in 2021, 22? Okay, and then you try to analyze why this contribution has gone less or high. You try to understand deeply and you produce it. That is applied research. With your knowledge, with your gathered data, when you just study and provide is basic. When you try to analyze why did the contribution variation differ, probably during Corona, the company wanted to expand their investment, expand their support to the society in terms of contribution. So the contribution part is high during 2020 and 21. So that way, when you try to deeply analyze to find out certain solutions, then it comes under applied research. Now, understanding types of research, here I am going to talk about research design. There are many ways to categorize different types of research. The words we use to describe your research depend on our discipline and field. In general, the form of a research design it will be shaped by 3 types. One is the type of knowledge which we aim to produce. Okay, see, I have not brought in here descriptive research, inductive research, deductive research, primary, secondary. You might have heard all these things. I have categorized all these in these 3 major points. This will be very clear enough for you to proceed. Okay, so we can categorize a research design in 3 manners. One is the type of knowledge that we aim to produce. Number 2, the type of data which we are collecting and analyzing, because your research design will differ depending on the type of data which you collect. Okay? And the third one, the sampling methods, time scale and location of research. So let us be very clear that your research design is going to be under any of these 3, depending on the knowledge which you are aiming to produce, depending on the type of data which you are collecting and going to analyze. Number 3, depending on the location, the region where you are going to do the data collection, sampling method and time scale. So moving further, according to the first category, that is what kind of knowledge our research is aiming to contribute. So under first category, we have these types of research design: basic versus applied, just now we have seen; exploratory versus explanatory design; inductive versus deductive. So basic versus applied, we have seen it aims to develop the knowledge, applied to develop techniques, products and procedures. When you say exploratory research aims to explore the main aspects of an under-researched problem. There is no research done in that area, or very, very minimal, or it is done but not in India, in abroad. That becomes exploratory. You are exploring and bringing the new thing. You are exploring and bringing the under-researched area to the society. This is what and this is how we can do. Right? So that is exploratory. Explanatory research aims to explain the causes and consequences of a well-defined problem. The problem is already existing. There are many people who tried finding solutions to the problem. You are analyzing in your own angle. What are the causes and effects? That is explanatory. The third is inductive and deductive. Inductive research aims to develop a new theory. Out of your research, you might have having a chapter called theoretical framework in your research work, right? So you try to develop a new model. When you talk about marketing, in consumer behavior, you have different models, right? In terms of understanding, targeting, positioning, segmentation, whatever might be. But out of learning all these things, out of gaining knowledge in all these things, when you develop your own model, try to prove your model how it is fitting, then it is inductive. You try to develop a new theory. Deductive research aims to test the theory. Of course, you try to test and prove, yes, it is working well. Okay? So these things under the first category, which is what kind of knowledge our research aims to contribute. Second thing, to consider what type of data that we will collect for our research work. Each kind of data is associated with a range of specific research methods and procedures. Here, what type of data are we collecting? Depending on the data, right? Primary versus secondary. Primary data is collected directly by the researcher, while secondary data has been already collected by someone else, or it is already there in different reports, right? So, how you are intended to collect your data, accordingly you divide, you can categorize your research design. Second is qualitative versus quantitative. Qualitative research methods focus on words and meanings, and these methods allow you to explore concepts and experiences in more detail. Qualitative, right? You conduct a lot of focus groups, you conduct Delphi technique method, you do case interviews, you discuss with the industry people and industry experts, and try to do your research work. So that is qualitative. When you talk about quantitative, all in numbers, right? Quantitative research methods focus on numbers and stats. These methods allow you to systematically measure variables and test hypotheses. So everything is in number only, right? There are no much human intervention. Whatever data that you have collected, as such, when you put it into your tool, it is going to give the exact result, whether positive or negative. Either your hypothesis is going to be, whether you can accept the null hypothesis or alternate. But depending on the reality you are going to speak, that is quantitative. And the third is descriptive versus experimental. Descriptive research is also used to compare how different demographics respond to certain variables. For example, an organization may study how people with different income levels react to the launch of a new Apple phone. Descriptive study. Right? Here we are aiming to compare how different demographics are going to influence your study. Whereas when you talk about experimental research manipulates and control variables to determine cause and effect. You have control variables here. What do you mean by control variables? You have the control here. You can change. You have the option to manipulate and change and test your results. Right? Example, checking how drugs are working out with different dosage levels. When a new drug, let us say pharma company is trying to introduce a new drug, but how commonly it is applicable for different age groups. So they have to do this experimental research, right? And that is how even COVID vaccines have been developed across different age groups, and for even now, I think children between 10 to 15 or less than 10 also they are trying to give the vaccine. So it needs to be tested. So that comes under experimental design. The third category is about types of sampling, time scale, and location. We are learning about research design, please remember. So research design, so see, if you see here, I think you will be able to relate in all the research methodology books or all the FDPs, whichever you have attended so far, you might have learned these categories: primary, secondary, basic, applied, exploratory. But we don't know how to define, categorize it. Categorizing that and understanding is very important in your research work. So now you will get a clear idea. Now suppose if you have framed your title, if you have framed your objectives and you are in the second stage of your research work, if time permits, if you have time, you can go back and think about, have I framed in this manner? Is my research is really a basic research or applied research? Is it coming under qualitative or quantitative? Is it falling under an exploratory or explanatory? You can categorize and get clarity so that you can pursue it in a better manner, right? So types of sampling, time scale and location, this is the third criteria. So here it talks about how will you select the subject or the participants of the research. Number two, when and how often will you collect the data from your subjects, from your participants, right? Certain types of research need the data. Suppose you are pursuing the research, your data collection, you may say, next 4 months is my data collection period, right? You collect your data in the next 4 months and start moving for the next process, which is analysis, right? Sometimes certain research need a data collection at certain point of time, right? So that you might have heard about longitudinal research, cross-sectional research. So that is how I am trying to categorize here, right? So when and how often will you collect data from your subjects, and where will the research take place, the location, that's also very important. So in this third category, I try to give the research design types, as first one is probability and versus non-probability sampling, depending on the sampling method. So probability sampling, as we know, it allows you to generalize your findings to a broader population, right? Non-probability sampling method, in which not all the members of the population have an equal chance of participating in the study. So here you cannot generalize because randomly you pick certain people. But probability, every participant of your group, target group, will get a chance to give you answer, so that your findings can be generalized. This is the findings of my study. You can easily do that. But non-probability has little disadvantage because you are doing it randomly. Number 2, cross-sectional versus longitudinal. Cross-sectional studies gather data at a single point in time, while longitudinal studies gather data at several points in time. So now, if you have defined your topic and if you have set your objectives, you have done your literature review, and then you are on to prepare your questionnaire and then data collection, just look after this slide. What is my intention? Who are my participants? Right? Am I going to use probability sampling or non-probability sampling? Am I going to use cross-sectional study or longitudinal study? Right? Third one is field versus laboratory. Field research takes place in a natural or real-world setting, while laboratory research takes place in a controlled and constructed setting. Right? So when you do market research or research topics related to marketing, probably you have to go to the field, collect customer satisfaction or whatever regarding, right? So when you I feel that this categorization will be much easier for you to understand the different research design. Hope you are very clear about research design. At least not clear, at least would have got some clarity, right? Thank you. So now, review of literature. Very easy one. In the whole entire research work of the chapters, whatever you write, this part is very easy because we are going to copy from someone and put it here. Is it? 100% no. 100% no. We have to be very cautious in what content that we are taking from somebody. And why are we taking? There are n number of sources. As I told, 42 crores and 32 lakhs of Google results will out for you to how to pursue PhD. When you take certain content from somewhere, there should be some meaning why you have brought in that, right? So review of literature, of course it is easy, but very, very important. I'll tell you, if you have done your review of literature properly, 60% of your research is done. I'm telling you. You don't need to worry to frame your objectives. You don't need to worry to frame your questionnaire. You don't need to worry to set up your variables. You don't need to worry to use any statistical tools here. If you thoroughly got the right source of information for your research, if you have thoroughly analyzed that, I'm damn sure that 60 to 65% of your research work is done. You can close, I have done. Rest all is your writing part. Because when you thoroughly analyze somebody's work, you know where is the research gap. You are going to analyze how they have framed the objectives. You are going to read about what are their findings. You also can take, each and every scholar might have given scope for further studies. At the last page, when you read out that, that is going to be your objective. That is going to be your title. Scope for further study, they are only giving you a chance to, how do you take it and explore further? Every day the scope of further study is required. So depending on your discipline, when you thoroughly do your review of literature, half is done. More than 60% is done. Right? That is where I brought in this review of literature content here. How do you clearly take certain content from research article? Right? You might be knowing all these things, but still, this, as per our FDP topic, a beginner's approach, I just wanted to touch from the grassroots level. I hope I'm not repeating those informations which you know already. Would you find it useful? Thank you. The more you know about your topic, the more effectively you can tackle your own research problem. But this all starts with literature review. The importance of literature review. Literature review plays a critical role in scholarship because science remains, first and foremost, a cumulative endeavor. That is what it is, cumulative. Somebody has already produced a result. We are taking from there and we are trying to imply our thought process, our way of analyzing that, and we are producing. And somebody else will take from there. So it is actually, we all have to accept that it is a cumulative endeavor. The literature review is important because it describes how the proposed research is related to prior research in statistics. Number two, it shows the originality and relevance of your research problem. Number three, specifically your research is different from the other works, right? You are going to do the research gap, find the research gap, and you are going to pursue your research work. What is not a literature review, which I have done, that's a mistake which I have done, right? It is not a chronological catalog. Many people will do that, and of course I have done initially. I've got very nice scoldings for the panel of members. I cried a lot, and coming back I thought I am not fit to do the PhD. I lost my confidence. I'm unable to pursue that. I have not attended FDPs where they have practically explained such things, right? We research scholars tend to attend FDPs to gain knowledge, where, of course I'm not blaming or criticizing, but the kind of FDPs, nearly 15 plus I have attended, where every new resource person try to give new thought process about research design. And what is there in the content, in the book content is being explained. Of course, I have explained a lot of examples, but still it was not remaining in my mind. I was unable, I was clueless. And just 182 papers I have collected, made up the spiral binding. I was very proud that I have collected 182 papers and proudly sat in front of the panel and got nice scoldings, right? So what is not literature review? Before we know what is literature review, we should be thorough what is not. Then only we will not commit that mistake. It is not a chronological catalog. It is not collection of quotes or paraphrasing. It is not just a simple summary of the information. Many places I have seen, many scholars I have seen, they just try to take the content from people's abstract somewhere and try to produce. When we clearly ask how this abstract information is relating to your study, they cannot answer. They feel that somewhere there, the keywords of their topic are there in the abstract, and they say that is where this matches. Am I right? I hope your face, I can see your reactions that these mistakes have happened in your face as well, right? So this happens. We think that the kind of keywords, whatever matches with a particular abstract content, then that is a review of literature. We can mention that in our research work, but that is not. It is not just a simple summary of the information. Rather, it is a critical evaluation of what researchers have written on your topic. Okay, it's a critical evaluation of what researchers have written in your topic. Literature review. The aim of a literature review is to demonstrate that we have read and have a good understanding of the main published work concerning a particular topic or a question in our subject area. You need to analyze each point of view, right? Each point of view, as well as identify any strengths or weaknesses you may find in the prior research methods or find. So thereby you'll be able to find the research gap. Okay. Before you begin to write your literature review, what you're supposed to do? Define your problem. Which topic or field is being explored? What are the main issues? Where do you define the boundaries? That's number one. Then search the literature. Find materials relevant to what you are exploring. Evaluate what you read. Number three, think about, is it relevant to your topic? Is it up to date? Is the information reliable and accurate? How are you going to organize and keep track of sources? Very important. These statements look very simple. What this lady is telling, whatever there in the theory, something she is telling, you may feel. But if you really try to understand the gist and originality of these statements, these are the set of mistakes that we commit when you do PhD, right? We attend several FDP related to research methodology, related to statistical tools, related to several things which are related to PhD, right? Every FDP when we go, we get after registration we get a registration kit, and we use that notepad to fill the content whatever we reserve, and next day we throw it out. Where is that notepad? What content, original content that we have gained from there? We try to keep those things, right? How do you track? It is very, very important. You maintain a research diary, separate research diary. You take it along with you whenever you attend certain FDPs related to research, right? Of course, along with the registration kit, when they give a notepad, you use that. But whenever they explain whichever things are very much related to you, you you bring the content to your research diary, put date, and then mention that point, this point that I have learned today. So the research diary must contain whatever experiences that you come across while you pursue research. Let it be an FDP, be it a national conference, be it an international conference, be it a parent discussion, right? And then any experts that you would find, mention so that you can connect with them later on. We have n number of sources nowadays to connect with people. LinkedIn is the best opportunity now, which is available. You can easily connect to people. The topic which you have chosen, suppose you have chosen some topic related to investment analysis. You can easily connect people from LinkedIn who are top positions in different banks, different private sectors. Connect with them. Try to understand what is likely happening in the market. Right? I have not been told all these things when I was doing my research. After 2012, I have registered my PhD in the year 2012 and I have completed in 2018. 6 years. And now we are in 2022. Now I realize what are the mistakes that I have done while doing the research. I would have done this in a better manner. All these things I am trying to realize now. So that is where I brought in to whomever people that I am going to address today should not suffer in future. Right? Nobody will openly talk about these things. They will talk about the things which are there in the book. But with their practical experience, how do you find an easy approach, a clear approach to do your PhD? Rarely you get people to say. Right? That is why I brought in here. So, tips for reading articles. How do we do that? It is not just like the moment you find a source, you copy and paste it in a Word document, collect so many things and do. Not at all. Read the abstracts, then categorize. Right? Sometimes the title of the research work may be related to you, may be related to your study. But when you go to the abstract and read, it may be totally different. Right? The keywords may match, but inside the kind of abstract what they have written, their aim to do the study will not match with your study. So that if you reflect in your review of literature, that is not going to be a waste one, right? So read the abstracts, then categorize. Number 2, scan the article and identify research question. Number 1, specify hypothesis, findings, how results were interpreted. As I told you, when you thoroughly see, you can take, suppose in your phase of doing PhD, I have registered my PhD and then I am going to write my coursework. After clearing my coursework, I am going to start with the TC meeting approval. I have set my title for the research. I am going to frame the objective, is fine. Now I am going to do the literature review. You can do literature review in 1 month, you can do it in 2 months, you can do it in 6 months also. Right? My suggestion would be, you can even see data analysis and statistical tools and analyzing, finding, you have software, n number of softwares, right? And openly I'm telling you, even you can take some help from statisticians in terms of doing your analysis, because all are not experts in numbers. We all are not experts in numbers, but we are very strong in theory, right? So you can take help from statisticians to do the analysis part. Whereas when you focus and give much of time for your literature review, half of your work is done. So whenever you do literature review, thoroughly read the abstract, categorize that, yes, this is perfectly matching with my objective, my idea, and then whichever articles are suiting to your idea, take the research questions. What research questions that they have done, how did they collect the data, what tools that they have used, everything will give you a proper idea to proceed further. Read the easier articles first, right? And read, mentally digest the entire thing. Until you are totally involved and having very positive attitude towards doing the research, it will be very tough for you. It will be a nightmare for you, as I told in the initial speech, right? You have to take it very positively. Of course, 100% pressure will be there because you need to manage your family, manage your workplace with your PhD. Definitely it will be tough, but take it in a positive way, you can do it better. Where to search for literature review? Very important. Again, which source? Where do we get the proper sources? As I told, in front of you, there are so many internet sources which are available, but we need to access the proper way, right? Find out the best databases to search for information on your research topic. So start with research databases. A research database is where you find thousands of journal articles which you can search for simultaneously and quickly to find the articles and with higher relevance than searching in individual journals. Focus your search with the specific databases and specific discipline. So where to? Where we have the sources to collect your literature, collect your articles related to that. WorldCat is one source. It's a catalog of books and other materials in libraries worldwide. It is a union catalog that itemizes a collection of 17,900 libraries in 123 countries and territories that participate in OCLC, Online Computer Library Center Global Cooperative. So this is one source where you can search for the articles related to that, related to your study. Google Scholar is the number one when it comes to academic search engines. You have 200 plus million articles in Google Scholar. It not only let you find research papers for all academic disciplines for free, but also often provides you full link, okay, full text. Microsoft Academic, it helps you to explore top citing articles. Other thing is Core. It is an academic search engine dedicated to open access research papers. For each search result, a link to the full text PDF file or full text web page will be provided. So these are the various sources, right? When our research supervisor says, go do the literature review, we are clueless again where to go and search, right? So these are the top sites through which you can get the required information. Science.gov is a fantastic resource as it bundles and offers free access to search results. Semantic Scholar is a new kid in the block of search engines. Its mission is to provide more relevant and impactful search results using AI-powered algorithms that find hidden connections and links between research topics. Semantic Scholar. How do you write your literature review? Steps involved in writing the literature review. Step 1, introduction of the topic. 2, its importance and why I have brought it here in your study. Number 3, structure. What is the structure followed in the particular paper where you are referring? What are the variables that they have used? That's a 4th step. 5th step, evaluation. 6th is a summary. 7th is a question. And 8th, citation is very important. You have to quote. Somebody has helped you to do your research. You have to acknowledge that, right? That is very important. Citations and references. To steal ideas from one person is plagiarism. To steal from many is called as research. Is it that? No. A citation tends to be, why I have brought in this here is, we forgot to quote from whom somebody we have referred, right? That is unethical. I think Dr. Sumant Datta would have covered all those things in his second edition, right? You have to properly acknowledge and bring in that to your research work. So a citation tends to, here I have mentioned the difference between citation and reference. Hope you all are aware about it, right? The citation tends to mean the part of the text within your assignment where you acknowledge the source. In your abstract, in your introduction part, you might have taken some statements, you might have quoted, and then you mention it in a bracket. That is citation. And I'll also talk about the format. While a reference usually refers to the full bibliographic information at the end. Basics for comparison between citation and reference, meaning citations is a way of disclosing within the main body that the quote, image, chart, statistics, etc. are taken from an outside source. Whereas reference is a list which contains all the sources which have been sought or cited while writing the entire article. What is the use of it? Use of citation, it informs the reader the basic source of information. Reference, it informs the reader that complete source of information. Purpose is to indicate the source of the material taken. Here in the reference, the purpose is to support or criticize an argument or a point. Okay. Placement. How do you place it? It is presented in the back bracket, that is citation. So for example, I have given James, ET.AL, 2019. So I hope my audience are aware about that ET.AL, right? I was not knowing while I was doing my PhD. I searched in Google what is it. So many, I have seen, while referring so many articles were mentioning ET. What is that ET.AL? Is it another author? I was thinking in that way. Is it another author? James is one author. James, ET.AL. What is ET.AL? I was not knowing. And then I explored. Then later I come to know. Might be you might be knowing all these things, but still, I'm just sharing my experience. I tried exploring what is an ET.AL. ET.AL is a Latin word which tells that James and others. Probably the paper may have 4 to 5 authors. But when I am bringing this citation in my abstract, in my introduction part, in my theoretical framework, it will become very lengthy mentioning all 5 authors. So for that to shorten the form, we say the first author, name, ET.AL. So ET.AL is a Latin word, tells about that, and others, James and others, and 2019 is where that particular article is being, the year of publication, right? So that is how I understood what is ET.AL. So that is how you place citation, whereas references presented as end note or at the end of the document. Information, it contains information like publication year and the last name of the author, only just that. But when you talk about reference, you need the entire thing, publication date, title, which journal, the author name, page numbers, everything. You have different styles of references, right? We'll see that also. Different citations and references style. MLA, Modern Language Association, this is one reference style. It is used by humanities area. Last name of the author followed by page number. So the format for MLA citation, MLA references, last name of the author followed by the page number. That is sufficient, right? APA. All of us being academicians, the expectation in terms of making the reference is by APA style, right? So APA, author name last, followed by date or year in the parenthesis. American Psychological Association, right? They have defined the format, and that is being very well accepted across the globe for an academician to mention a reference. APA is used by education, psychology, and sciences. So I have even mentioned the different areas which accept the different citation style. So humanities area, they accept MLA style. Psychology, education, and sciences, they accept APA style. Chicago and Turabian style is also there, which is generally used by history and fine arts. But the format is a little different. Okay. I think this is the last topic which I am covering here. I would like to recollect what we have seen from the beginning. I have just told about the facts of PhD, the nitty-gritty of doing a research, and types of research. So in general, we have only 2 types, basic and applied. We are very clear in that. And then research design part. So research design part, instead of getting confused about primary, secondary, qualitative, quantitative, inductive, deductive, exploratory, explanatory, I have categorized that into 3. One is about the kind of knowledge that you want to generate. Number 2 is the kind of data which you are collecting. Number 3 is about the sampling technique what you use, accordingly I have differentiated. Later on, we also have learned about review of literature, its importance, how do we scan and understand the articles, and different citation styles, right? I hope you might have gathered, you might have got some idea about. Fine. 7 major issues need to be focused while doing PhD. This is truly not my content. I was watching a TED Talks by one of American US student, research scholar. She was giving the TED Talk and she was trying to explain these things. It was very, very useful. So I've gathered those points here. Okay, I've added a few points of mine as well. So 7 major issues need to be focused while doing a PhD. Number 1, I am stuck somewhere. Of course, all of us would have come across this situation, right? Probably getting stuck in the half of your work. Probably initially in the research, defining the topic, setting the objectives, preparing a question, and somewhere you might have got stuck. It is very normal to feel stuck at a certain point and then knowing what is next, how to do. So the solution for or to tackle this problem is it is important to have some thinking time and reading time. Very important. Because we all are in a hurry to complete the PhD and get the doctorate degree. Right? We lose the true essence of what work needs to be done. So you need the thinking time and reading time. Much of thinking and reading time. Right? Before thinking and reading time, before planning to pursue PhD, sit and think about, would you really want to do PhD? Right? Do you really want to do, for what reason that I am going to do my PhD? Am I going to survive till my retirement as an academician? Am I going to survive in this academic field? If your answer is yes, then think about PhD and do. Or if your interest is I am going to gain a lot of knowledge and then even I can become a market analyst, market researcher, I am going to work with several companies, FMCG sector or different sector, automobile sector, you go into a R&D, R&D function and you are going to contribute. For that reason, I am going to do PhD. So find out the reason for what you want to do a PhD. Otherwise, it will become very tiresome work. You may get a lot of irritation, you may get a lot of tension because you will not be able to balance. Right? So getting stuck is very obvious. No need to worry. You need a lot of thinking and reading time. There is more. This is again confusing. That is what I told you. Several FDPs you attend, 100 FDPs you attend, 100 new ideas. So much of books are there. So much of open resources are there. Where do you get a confined answer? When you have less, you intend to think and find your answer. When you have more to eat, simply you will fill your stomach, that's all. Now, everything will go waste. Right? It will not satisfy your hunger. You are just filling your stomach. It goes in that way. So there is more. There are more books to read, more authors to find, more methods to try, more questions to address. Doing a PhD is like opening doors. I would bring one example here. What happens is that you might have intended some plan in doing your research. When you talk to your guide might be instructing do in this way. So you have opened one door. You wanted to understand that. And then your research supervisor might be giving his thought process in that, so you may take a diversion. Okay, this idea is also good, let me pursue in this way, right? You are working on that, you go to a DC meeting with a panel of examiners, you take another diversion. Because panel of examiners will be giving different inputs. From there, when you start whatever you are searching, so you are totally deviated from the point A when you are at point L or M in the alphabets, if you say, it is totally diverted, right? So you have to be very clear in what, even if your research supervisor says this will not be possible, you have to be a little strong enough that this is the area I want to study. This is where I will collect my data. This is how I have done my review of literature. Because research supervisor need to give some comments, right? Whether he knows A to Z of that, topic or not, we don't know. But he is our supervisor. The respect is there for us. So whatever he says, we have to note it down. If he says, don't set this objective, you will not be able to do, cancel. You will cancel and come back. But that objective only is going to give a big credit for you in your research work. But since just because your research supervisor have told, you neglect the objective. Don't do that. You be clear in what you are doing. You defend. You start defending right from day one. Right? Not in a different manner, not in a negative manner. There are always several manners to please the other person, to convince the other person. You go with some justification why you want to keep that objective. No, sir, this is right. I have searched in this article. It is like that. So let me frame this objective. You convince. You do the justification. You need not blindly follow your research supervisor. You justify and make him understand that is required for your research and pursue. Right? From the day one when you keep your mindset to be strong enough what you are doing, definitely you can do. Otherwise, it leads to a lot of confusions. So make sure we are going in the right path of what we want to and what we plan to do. Make it important that we focus on what we are really doing or we wanted to do. I have no motivation to do my PhD. Nobody is motivating me. Somebody should be there to motivate. No? My director said the day when I had registered, he was calling me as Dr. Karpurvali. I was intern taking, sir. Please don't tease me, sir. You give lot of academic responsibilities the moment I swipe in, do my biometric and go to college, Papa only do this, Papa only do that. Lot of academic work, sir. And at the end of the day, by Dr. Karpagovalli, where Dr. Karpagovalli will come, how she will emerge. You need to give some good time for her to do the research, right? Sir, I am not blaming. Sorry. It is in his position. When I take his position, I will also behave in that way. Right? Each and every role has its own challenges, right?
But I have hypothesis that prove that. And after you, I have created for you.
Okay.
I created hypothesis.
Okay, thank you.
Hypothesis work with Rajesh.
No, but what happens when he calls me as Dr. Karpagovalli, directly or indirectly, it has gone to my subconscious mind. I was able to do. When my director is telling that repeatedly, that has created the urge in me. However, whatever struggles that I come across, I am going to complete my PhD. Because I still remember there are 4 people along with me who had registered, and myself and one more candidate only have completed. The other 2 have dropped out. So I have to take it positively, though I should know how to balance my workplace and my research work. So directly or indirectly, whatever he said has motivated me. Many of us lack such motivation. Somebody should encourage. When you go back home also, what research work you are doing every time? You want to go for a doctoral committee meeting, you want to go for attending different FDPs, you want to travel, who will take care of family? Yeah? Of course, ladies, we have come across all these critics from the family, right? So we lack in motivation. So without no choice, self-motivation is the only thing through which we can handle all these things, right? Doing a PhD is meant to be very difficult. It is similar to marathon with a few sprints. A recent study in UK showed that 3 out of 10 doctoral students will not finish their degrees in the stipulated time. Why such dropouts in between? It is mainly due to lack of motivation. That's a study they have done. And self-motivation is very important to keep us energetic to continue our PhD. I forgot what I did. It happens. Sometimes we may forgot what we just did. That is what, when you refer several pages, when you write it in A4 sheets, when you write it in different diaries, when you note it in different notepads, you miss out the important things which can correct for your research. So that is the importance of maintaining a separate research diary. The day one you have registered for your PhD, start noting it. Whenever you attend conferences, seminars, and then FDPs, workshops, the relevant things which are related to your research, make a note in your research diary, not it in a separate document, so that you have consolidated, cumulative content which you can refer for your future. Importantly, write and maintain a research diary, write the decisions we made and why we made them. Is this relevant and important? In this really relevant study, being helpful for anybody, you yourself first have to get the assurance. Am I doing it in the right way? Is it going to be relevant? Is it going to be important? Is it going to be help me to complete my work on time, etc.? Self-assurance is very important. According to OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, doctoral holders are expected to play a key role in the society because it drives forward the advances in the science and technology. So as I told, getting doctorate degree is not just to add doctor in front of your name as a credit. You hold a lot of responsibilities in the society, in your workplace, right? The kind of knowledge what you have gathered have to be shared. You have to inspire people, right? Inspiring, very important. You have to inspire the people. So you have a bigger role to play after you gain doctorate degree. It is not just for your monetary benefits or to get increments or to get promotion. No, of course that will automatically come. When you do it sincerely, the kind of effort and kind of hard work you do, that will definitely yield you good result. Right? But let us not look into the result. Let us do our responsibility. Automatically you will get all credits, right? So you have greater role to play in the society as well as in the workplace, right? So we have to be self-assured and find the original source related to your study. It can give us new ideas and new approach. I feel lonely when you do. But I will not agree this now because you have lot of networking opportunities nowadays. Not in when I started in 2012, I would try to connect people only by attending FDPs and workshops. Rather, I don't have any connection with anybody. But now LinkedIn is there. Through Gmail, you can openly talk to people. You can write emails to them, get their advice. Everything can be done, right? I feel lonely. You may feel little lonely, but not. It's a solitary process, but not necessarily to be done alone. A study of University of Berkeley, California, found that half of the postgraduate students suffer from some kind of depression, and obviously many things play a major role in depression, but feeling lonely in a process which is already long and difficult does not help. So the problem here is, why do we feel lonely is we don't openly share our thought process to others. That's the biggest mistake what we do. We are all having a fear of criticism. Right? It's like we have that fear of criticism. What if somebody says something? How do I take inputs from them? Whether in what angle they will take. First of all, we have to, do they really know about that topic or not? What is wrong in just discussing about? Right? Be open, discuss about. Whenever you get opportunities to go for conferences, talk to the people, talk to the industry people, get connected, clarify your doubts. Asking questions is easy. You ask questions, whatever answer they know, they will give. That will become one of your idea for your research work. So you need not feel lonely and need not feel little less about you whether we will be able to do or not. Definitely, we are all capable. We all have inbuilt strength in us. We should find that. We should find that and bring that confidence in us. Right? That is what I do. The best research you can do is talk to people. It is very important, being connected. Another important way to be connected is talk to your research supervisor, because he is the second person who is more interested in your completion of research, right? So if you don't know, if you don't work for 6 months, your supervisor will go, what? There is no progress in 6 months, what? Sir, I don't know anything. So at least he will try to help you in some manner. If he really do not have time, he may connect you with some other people, through them you can gain some points or ideas. Okay? Finally, there are no secret recipes to complete your PhD. You need to find your own way and your own approach, right? So with this, I would like to close the session. Thank you all for your patience listening. I hope I would have given some points which has initiated the thought process of doing your research work. Of course, we have understood the basic fundamentals of research as well. From here, if you have the afternoon session about data analysis or statistical tools, that will really help you to pursue your research work. Right? Thank you all. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, ma'am. That was indeed a mind-blowing session.
I'll just give an hypothesis, I tell you. Because all are, see, since morning, we are keep speaking. Can you use speed for some time? Because it's not good that
Yes.
keep on dumping on some knowledge information. Let me know, kindly introduce yourself one by one. One, maybe 130 seconds. What will you have? Please come here. I will feel privileged. All of you, how many can come so that we can give some kind of idea to you also. So what you're looking for the technology.
Good afternoon all. I'm R.T. Induji, working as an assistant professor in Sri Krishna Arts and Science College, and I'm currently pursuing my PhD in GRD School of Management under the guidance of Dr. Brinda ma'am, and I'm about to do my second VC. So this is all about me.
Great, please.
Thank you.
Okay, somebody can come in. I need one more. Okay? Thank you. All of you, please come. Because the cam is there also, you are live also. Very important.
Hi, I'm Priya. I'm working as an assistant professor in SNME College of Arts and Science. I wish to do PhD. This is very useful. It gives me more information. It is a good starting for me to pursue in PhD. Thank you.
Or you can do one thing, you can sit down there only, you can speak, you don't need to write it. Or if you want to, on the cam, you can stand. Look at the cam, you can talk to that.
Good afternoon to everyone. I'm Devika. I'm working in SNME College of Arts and Science. I'm going to submit my PhD Monday.
Okay.
Thank you. And my research guide is Dr. D. Dilip. And yes, sir.
So, the Guruji is here only.
Yes, sir.
All everything is being done.
Yes. From 2003 onwards, he is my Guruji. He is my UT teacher too. I'm happy to be what to say. I'm thankful to his the kind of teaching he gave me from 2003 onwards. And thank you to him.
Guruji.
Yes, my Guruji. And I'm happy about the days I travel with him in my research work is amazing. And my base is also statistics only. But still, I'm learning new things. Even the last day where he was signing, there also he taught me a lot. And that much thing I learned from him. Thank you for him. And this is the right place. I thank him. I travel a lot with him. And a little bit I become emotional if I talk about the teaching, the way he taught me. That was amazing. Thank you, sir. And about research, like what ma'am said in the morning, it is like an ocean. We cannot say after PhD, we cannot say that we learn all about research. That is huge thing is we have to learn. Everyone should concentrate in research even after PhD.
Dilip, I think all your increments is done for this year. Don't ask me anything, okay? When a student, please, when a colleague like her, bounce back with such a, great student with a lot of gratitude, you cannot compare with any dollars. It's a $1 million words what you have, expressed in front of many other people. So, Dilip, you need a big hug. Having a faculty like that, investment, a lot of progress. Take care, you don't know it. This is a what research. Okay, next.
Good afternoon to everyone. Myself, Rajeshwari, working as an assistant professor in KPR College of Arts and Science. I'm doing my research study under the guidance of Dr. Dilip sir, and I'm about to submit my synopsis by next week. And whatever ma'am said, I do agree. And recently, last 3 years, I were with the Dilip sir, and he's a very humble person. I never seen such a guy in my life. He's a wonderful person. So I want to thank him in this occasion. And this is a place where I have brought my friends also to this place. And I think this will be they are ready to do their PhD also. They're going to start their PhD work. So it will be very helpful for them where they want to start. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for giving this opportunity.
Very good. You got double or triple or like this will, allow you to grow much bigger than what you are. Okay.
Good morning, sir. My name is Jasper Shirin. I'm working as assistant professor at KPR College of Arts and Science. And I thank you, ma'am, for giving a eye-opener session actually. So I'm about to do my PhD. So thank you for valuable information. And I thank the institution also for organizing such a program, sir. Thank you so much.
So I'm Karthik. So I'm working in KPR College of Arts, Science and Research in the School of Management. So I was in the academics. I had a break for about 8 years, and I was an entrepreneur. And I'm back to academics just to pursue my research studies. So I'm about to start. So the last cycle I couldn't because of my health issues. So I'm planning by this cycle I would register myself. And the session was very beautiful, and all of your experiences are poured into it. So thanks for that, for sharing all your experience and just and help us so much. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for organizing this.
I am Yasmin Samad from Lead College. I am an assistant professor as well as an administrator. We 6 are here.
Oh, great.
Yeah. We were colleague to Dr. Chiku and Dr. Jamal Mohammed.
Oh.
And yesterday only I came to know that such a program was happening in your college, and we rushed. Today, though there is a busy day, because admissions are happening, many other programs are happening, still our director said that it's a good program for you all. and you all need to attend. So we all rushed in the morning, and really I felt Madam Kanagavalli, Dr. Kanagavalli, it was a great program. In fact, the portion where she said that motivation part, I loved it because I'm a family woman. I have 2 kids. I have old age parents. I have a college where I take care of administration. So even one single day, I cannot sit at home. And even when I'm at home, full day is engaged. Morning 4 to night 11 o'clock. In between, at the age of 52, I have started my PhD just 1 month, 2 months before that. I do my PhD with Bhavadiyar University in CMAT. Dr. Babu Vinod is my guide, and he assured me that within 3 years, I'll make you a doctor. Another motivation for me is Dr. Chandrasekhar sir. He is the one, and Dr. Anbam is who were with Bhavadiyar University, and they said that you should do and we'll take care of everything. You just come and sit there, we'll do that. But I know that it is my job, and I have to work a hard and long way. Today you give me a lot of points which made me that what was to be done in coming years and coming days, how I need to work in a structured way, all these things. It was a great program, and I really thank you, sir, for creating such a program and inviting us. In fact, Dr. Zubair Mohammed Zaman. Okay. Thank you very much.
So myself, Nidin. Actually, I'm currently doing my PhD under Purpose, and my first thesis is on 8.
Very good. Congratulations.
Good afternoon. Myself, Jituram from Lead College of Management, working as assistant professor there. Thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful session. And myself, I'm pursuing my PhD in Kufos, Cochin, Kerala University of Fisheries and Ocean Studies in Management. And I've completed my second DC also, and there is having some little corrections as what she said, exactly with the same thing which related with my review of literatures. So I was relating, when she was explaining her experience here, I was relating with my experience also. Almost everything was same. Right now I need to work more on this review of literature. So it was a wonderful session, and it was helping for me. It was an eye-opening for me. And thank you for organizing this program, and these two people. I know them very well, these two faculty members here. We were colleagues, and thank you for inviting for this program. Thank you.
Hello, sir. I'm Rekha. Pursuing my PhD with Lead College, Kerala University of Fisheries, where we have registered. Haven't completed my DC yet. First DC is on 8th, and we are pursuing our PhD with this year. We started this year. Thank you, ma'am, for that wonderful session. Looking forward for your session, sir. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Divya, and I'm also a research scholar with Lead College, coming under Kufos University. And actually, I finished my master's degree with Information Technology and Business Administration. After 20 years of break, I just started my PhD now. And this is a wonderful session, ma'am. Thank you so much. I'm waiting for your session, sir. And I have to thank Jamal sir and Jitu ma'am for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Shibla Shavin, and I'm coming from Lead College of Management. I registered my PhD in Kerala University of Fisheries and Ocean Studies. I just completed my first DC and waiting for my second DC, Dr. Committee. And thank you, ma'am. It's very useful for me as a beginner. And my topic is adversity quotient among college teachers. Thank you.
A lot of online participants in there.
Vijay, they want to talk? Please, before that, just small things are there which we, after that, we'll open a question session for her, isn't it? The time permits or not? Look into that, as per the time scheduled and all, okay?
1 o'clock.
Wonderful. Okay. Yeah, we have to. Okay. Right. So we'll conclude maybe 5 minutes question and answers for people. See that why I was trying to listen all of you is number one is to learn more. I mentally decided that it's not the skill sets that works in your life. Skill sets works up to 30%, 40%. The most important thing is your mindset. How to create mindset for research? You have to inhale and exhale that you are going to complete at subconscious level. You have to treat, curate, nurture your body, mind, soul 24/7 that you are a researcher, you are going to go with the truth, you are going to have knowledge, you are going to have wisdom. Information is always limited. The moment you bring back from not from information to knowledge, knowledge to wisdom, you have to work reverse. You have to pray your God, your prayer, you have to pray your energy wherever you get your, the intuitive knowledge, instinct knowledge, intuitive knowledge. You have to connect from your wisdom to knowledge and knowledge to put the information. Finally, what the research scholars or what your guides and all, they see information. They are not going to keep their wisdom into you because they are very practical and materialistic. You have to bring back your wisdom to knowledge, knowledge into information. That is basically on a framework of research. Why the research has got so many struggles? Research and PhD so much of struggles because you don't know how to manage your guide, you don't know how to manage the content, you don't know how to manage the situations, or you don't have a framework. For example, some people are privileged to have nice guides, some people do not have this privilege. In fact, it's horrible to have a PhD program in your life. I will never intend to be a teacher in my life, to be honest with you. I was an executive, regional manager in the last center of telecom. All of a sudden, one day, somebody called me the guest lecture, the way we called. I went and delivered a guest lecture out of my experience. I don't know, I don't remember my theories also, what I studied in my MBA. That was during 90 MBA. Then I never bothered that what marketing, what is HR and all. I just spoken whatever my learning experience. One of the professors have come, then he said, when you done your PhD? Somebody called me, professor. I said, I am not a PhD. I'm a real manager in a company and just I'm going to that. No, you must do it, PhD. I just calculated to where is my salary in a multinational company, where the teacher gets. It was a very meager, my car petrol doesn't work. But one day I, out of curiosity, went to university, one of the biggest universities in the country, Andhra University. I just parked my car. I could see the list of doctor, the board. 54 doctorates from the starting from the principal to other department to our department, non-research department. That DR really inspired me. I should give us a doctorate, Dr. Srinivas. It sounds, I really call myself, I'm Dr. Srinivas. Imagine. And I came and looked in my car. I said, wow, it sounds good. I walked and just started meeting people. Everybody is full of ego only. Full of ego. Nobody, first of all, they are angry with me that I go and meet them in a car. My car was a sedan big car and no professor will come in a car. They manage their petrol, they come nearby campus, they come in a scooter. Then luckily I got one gentleman, Dr. Vishwanath. I said, sir, would you like to have a smoke? I used to smoke those days because corporate style. He said, yeah, I would like to smoke. Then I said, come in a car, sir, because you can't smoke in the campus. We went to beach, we get a smoke. Then I said, sir, I want a PhD. He said, oh, with one cigarette you will get one PhD. I said, how come? No, sir, I want PhD. And I want to look like in somewhere in the board. The gentleman was so good. I took him 1 or 2 parties that he did not allow him to be guide for me. Because I bring corporate experience. He suggested his friend. That gentleman is too good. And the third day when I went to my university, I parked my car 1 kilometer distance. And shoes, this hall, hangama, no. Hardcore chappals. I went, became very subtle. I did not bring my background. I met my guide. He's Dr. Krishnamon. Then, no good morning, no good evening. I have learned in 2-3 days only. I said, complete. Namaskaram, sir. Yeah, it's such a kind of namaskar. What do you have? I'm a regional manager for L&D. And he said, oh, regional manager L&D. What do you want to do? Then he said, I want to do PhD. That day, my learning started to be subtle in life. How you need to bend and liquidate your body, liquidate your mind to the needs of the person whom you're talking. Then he said, kept on talking to me. It took me 6 months to get my application filled. 95, I think, I filled my application. I got admission in 97. First, the admit card which has come. For me, that card, identity card. Again, I made a mistake. That day I was in rush because HOD called me. I parked my car in front of the HOD car only. He saw somebody is coming. He came. What are you thinking? How dare you to park your car in front of my car? I'll cancel your PhD. He says, I didn't know, sir, that's your car. I parked it. Sorry, sir. Extend it. Sorry, sir. Extend it. Sorry, sir. Then he signed it. I have understood this PhD is full of ego only. It doesn't give anything in your life, to be honest with you. That day I decided I will do PhD. Any scholar want to do PhD, I'm the first person to support them. And today Dr. Sumant also is there. He became emotional. I said, I will never allow anybody to suffer. My guide was internally very good human being. And he is an Ahmedabad fellow. And he always treated me equally. Because I was, after I left L&D, got into one college, the head department. Very soon, one American group college requested me to be vice president of the group because they have seen my experience. He said, why you are working as a HOD? We would like to see you. Immediately, direct position for me, vice president. For a big group, American group. So, I had a privilege of money, lavishness, network, everything. I used to treat all these professors. The professor who said, I'll cancel, I called him in a 5-star hotel, I treated him. From that day, it became normal. Every 54, all the 54 who showed me to, during my PhD submission, all 54 people were present. When I was defending, all 54, and everybody came and checked. So what I learned that, you need to create a positive sense in your body, mind, soul that you are going to win. And the leadership, what Dr. Karpagale today, I see that, I feel proud. I take credit. I'm also a selfish person, being a teacher. What we don't earn money, we earn only our team. If today Dr. Dilip is getting such a gratitude, I'm selfish. I would like to, I have means, I took his energy also with me because that energy is immense. So what happens here, I learned this is called graceful leadership. This is called concept called which is not written in the books. It's called graceful leadership. You must be empathetic to your colleagues. You must be in the shoes of your colleagues. You must know their individual life, personal life, social life, and professional every time. Then only they will be part of you. And when Dr. Karpagale was, she was not at all even one member of my team. I had around 34 faculty and other side engineering around 180. I was a campus director. She was not visible anywhere to me also, 2012. But what happened slowly, there were so many smart people were there. She came into my connect, my view that she's the best by her hard and smart efforts. By harder, smart efforts, through creative work of all administrative work. She never said that I cannot do. Say, I will do. Now she's staying after, I think I'm meeting after 2015. This is 7 years back I met her. In between, no connection, nothing. I was in Bangalore, she was also in Bangalore, but never we met it. What happens that she subtly has shown her skill. All of a sudden I called one day, I said, you're HOD. I gave 6 section, MBA section for an HOD. There's a torture from me as an administrative head. There's a torture from the guide. There's a torture from the family. Everything is there. But she accepted it. Subconsciously, she accepted it, wanted to do. And I think when she left our college, I went to another big college. And she did manage teach on college also. What is all it? Nurturing, self-nurturing. What do you call? self-nurturing. Research is only a small part of life actually. No, re-energizing individually for a bigger task is more important. For example, for me, research is not a big deal. Today, once upon a time, it is a blue heaven for me. Today, it's not that. Today is me for institutional building. Research, I have also six scholars with me. They don't respond at all. They don't respond. I keep on sending mails. Please come with literature. I'll go because it asks me tomorrow if I want to be vice chancellor somewhere after 2-3 years. Whenever we want to make it, this is a university. We need our PhD scholars. They don't respond. Ugadi is today there only once in Ugadi, once in a happy new year, happy Ugadi. Commercial secrets. So there is a beautiful art of you don't get Dilip's. Dr. Dilip's you don't get it. He's a very good human being. You get egoistic professors. They will torture. There is an art of dealing with every guide. You always inspire them. You say always they are good. Because they are good. Something they have done in life, that's their religion, they are good only. Appreciate them, proactive them, and also see that diplomatically, as she said, diplomatically defend your ideas. Never be offensive with them. Never be defensive with them. Diplomatically defend where he says, so you're right, sir, you're right, sir. You're right, sir. Great, sir. Right? The great person is in front of me, does with me. You're right, sir. You're right, sir. This is different. Same thing is required. Indian professors, we all are little, we don't know industry. This PhD will work in academics, as he said that the solution is more important. Finding solution is not so great. I have changed my 4 topics. In my PhD, 4 topics. Finally, when I was sitting with my guide in a beach, he said, no, we will not do anything. We will give a solution to the tourism Andhra Pradesh and this district. We took papers. I just scribbled in the papers and all. We said, how do we provide Vizag, my place, tourism solutions? And all this solution which I gave those days and got implemented by the government. Till in my cases, some suggestions and solutions and all these things are a strategic point of Swarna Andhra Pradesh. That is, I met directly Chandrababu Naidu those days. I said, I have worked it, please implement. They have implemented. That is what, from basic research to applied research. Today I work on very much on data science, data analytics, social media and all. I do a lot of applied research. For example, I'll give you, today Indian girls and boys above 14 years to 18 years to 20 years cry a lot. They cry a lot. Tears between 10:30 to 1 o'clock. Do you know how? You cannot imagine the research. I'm doing it and I'll conclude with how to solve it. Where is my parameters? How I'm getting it? No, I don't have time. Otherwise, I can show you my back end how it works also. We can collect emotions through our social media. I'm collecting emotions. Randomly, we have some software to between boys and girls, between what happens, what is the exchange happening, how many people are saying thumbs up, how many people are saying, flowers, how many people put, tears, how many people put these things. So this age group is having more on tears between. Several reasons are there. Some people do not have money, some people have, conflict between boys and girls, temporary relations, so many things. The emotions which are being exchanged today is more on tears. There is no emotion of expression. So night when you sleep before, you carry negative emotion, your life is going to be negative. So I'm working with some social media, navigators to see that this, tears emotion can be removed. Because if you put it means you navigate those things in your brain. This is called how this depression happens. In your brain, you have positive chemicals, negative chemicals. Serotonin, dopamine, if it is more, by laughing, by interacting, you get your all nervous system positive, your body became positive. If your creating nervous system is bad, cortisol will come, cortisol will be. These are the research which is going on psychological part. I'll not go into detail. Dilip, it's a wonderful session that you have organized. All your scholars are very good. I think if you have 5 minutes, you can answer any questions of yours.
Any questions? I will try to clarify that.
We'll go in 5 minutes. Or otherwise, the audience.
Any doubts or anything you want to clarify, or you can write to my email as well. I'm always there while you are pursuing. When you get stuck somewhere, when you want to get some ideas, you can write to me. I'll reply back. I'll try to give my idea through which I can give a support to your research work. That also I'm going to do.
Audience question.
The audience, do you have any questions for me? Okay, yeah.
While doing a data collection, how do you identify this is a benchmark data?
Again, through the review of literature only. When you go to the review of literature, when you are referring several works, right? How did they found the data, in what methodology, and how effectively their results have come? That comparison. So I'm focusing similar kind of target population for my data collection. So through which you will be able to assess whether this is going to be the benchmark.
Same algorithm using both.
Okay.
But he's taken local data and doing some IBM benchmark data. The result will be different, right?
Then both of your topic is not the same, right?
Same topic.
Uh-huh.
Then we are applying the same algorithm.
Okay.
The result will be different.
Same topic, then
sample is different.
Sampling could be different. So then,
the data should be, some data is skewed, some data is normal, some data is
correct.
not normal.
Depending on that, it may differ. Correct.
Then how can I short out this?
Citations.
That is what, references, that is what literature review will strongly help you in terms of assessing, right? Even though if both of your titles are the same, the way you collect the data, the number of data, that is what, number of respondents could be different, number of samples that you take, number of sample differences there, that also will give a different research actually, right?
This thesis is being evaluated as recommended and highly. Yes. The thesis is being evaluated as recommended and highly recommended. Only two indicators, right? So it is for the quality of the thesis, or it is for the beneficiary of the next researchers?
No, this is up to the evaluator who is taking your research, who is analyzing and giving a comment. It is up to that person. Recommended and highly recommended. Nobody will reject your paper because some idea you have brought into your research work. So recommended, highly recommended, they try to understand the relevance of your study in the current scenario. If it is more matching and it is going to give implications for the society, probably they will probably recommend for give the highly recommended option, otherwise recommended.
So it's no way connected to the performance of the research.
About your entire thesis is being read by them and they are assessing. So they read, try to understand how the way you have done your research, that is being assessed. And number two, what is the implication of your research? Whether it is just done for the sake of your study, whether it is a basic research or applied research, that they try to understand, and through which they are trying to give the recommendation. It is both for the benefit of the researcher as well as for how much work that they have done and how it is impacting the society. Accordingly, the recommendations are given.
One more question. In what aspects the guide can help to the researchers? Like, what if 3 research guides are expected? Maybe there are discussions are going on in government. Now individually only one guide is allotted for the researcher. But in some foreign universities, 2 or 3 guides are allotted for the researcher.
Correct. See, why? Because when the university allot one person as a guide, probably that person may not be having lot of knowledge about that particular topic. Research supervisors are allotted according to the university vacancies, normally when you see. So if he is having less idea about your topic, probably the other person who is associated can really help you. So that is where 1 or 2 people, there is nothing wrong in connecting with many people taking the inputs. One person as a research supervisor is fine, plus 1 and 2 are also fine. And when you get connected with industry people as well, you get a lot of practical ideas and inputs for your research. That is actually where we lag. We normally totally depend on the research supervisor, one guide with whom we are contacting, and then we pursue the research. But it is always good when you approach 2-3 members as well.
Okay. And from your experience and from the overall researcher's experience, where the guide role is very important to the research, ongoing research.
Everywhere, in all aspects, right from framing your topic, right from framing your title, setting your objectives, everywhere there plays a major role. That is what only thing which we have to think is, you might have approached him with a different idea. He may suggest a different idea for the same chapter or for the same area. If you are very strong, you have to justify and make him understand that you can proceed in this way, and then take his comments and you can work forward. Otherwise, when you go with certain idea, when he gives his own idea, you will get confused in terms of continuing your research work.
Good, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any questions? See, in the most of the cases, we limit ourselves with the discussion with only guides. For example, Shibla Madam, you have been doing stress management and all these things, just for I'm telling that. So you can meet a psychologist and counselor. So when you discuss with the industry people, you'll get further input in this.
Audience, any questions?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's break for lunch and please assemble at 2:30.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Really feel okay, exactly. He knows what to do.
Please assemble at exactly 2 o'clock.
Without getting food, you want them. They should
No,
relax.
45
and
minutes.
have food. But see that all complete nice food.
Yes, sir.
Okay. They should not be in hurry.
Yes, sir. Please read the case and know.
You have the class here.
An assignment. Yes. Given.
A small request.